This is love, death, grief, and everything in between. Once we had the palliative care doctor and his team, it was a matter of a day. I asked him how long he thinks she has, and he said 24 hours. It was that rapid. And none of these people would just be honest and tell her how bad it was. But the palliative care team came in. They got her settled. She ended up on pain medication, so there was no more pain. And they asked me if there's anything else I needed. The one thing I said is, if she's going to be passing in 24 hours, then she needs to be out of this fucking room. Because they had her in this little dark, dingy room. It wasn't much bigger than an oversized closet. I said, she's not going to die in here. I said, I want her where there's light and sunshine and something pretty out the window. And so they were very good about that. They moved her back to where she had been on the first visit in the hospital, which was a side of the hospital that had a mountain view, big windows, sky, trees. And I was grateful to the palliative care team for making that happen, and the nurses. They were getting her ready in her room for her final days. They were swabbing her mouth with one of those little sponges to keep it moist and so it wouldn't get so dry. And she clamped down on it and wouldn't let it go. And it freaked me out because I thought, is she saying she doesn't want this? And then she eased up. And it took me a few days to think about it, and I realized what had happened. She did that because she said under no circumstances did she want to be revived or did she ever want to be intubated. And that's what she thought they were doing. She thought they were getting ready to put a tube down her throat. So even on heavy pain medication and sedation, she had the wherewithal to know, I am not going to let this happen to me. She was still in control in some way. And I knew, I've got to let her go. As much as I don't want to. She used to always say, if you don't honor my wishes and do what I want, I will come back and haunt you forever. But now that I don't have her presence in my house, having her haunt me forever wouldn't be bad. She didn't pass that night. I asked the palliative care doctor how long he thought, and he said, probably tomorrow. And then tomorrow came and she still hadn't passed, and he said, well, maybe the next day. He goes, her body is going through everything it's supposed to right now. He goes, but has she talked to everybody? Has everybody that wanted to see her seen her? Because a lot of times that's what happens, is they're hanging on because there's something that they still need to hear or have someone say to them. And I said, no, she had talked to everybody. She had me there. She had Phil. She had talked to her grandson. Friends had come to see her. I was told that maybe she wasn't passing because our presence was there. And so a couple of times I went to go move the car. I went down to Starbucks to get a coffee. And out of habit, still brought her grande caramel macchiato and heated croissant and put it on the table near her, along with pictures of her and her grandson, flowers. I had taken her in her favorite blanket Well, one of two. She had one that had Scottish Terriers on it and another blanket that had a huge picture of Tom Selleck on it. But I took the Scottish Terrier blanket. Because who knows? Someone at the hospital may have stolen her Tom Selleck blanket. I don't know. Could have happened. But then Phil said to me, maybe she's waiting because we never finished the last movie in our series. Okay, yes, it was a Tom Selleck movie series we were watching with her. It had 9 movies. We had made it all the way to the 8th movie. We just had the 9th movie left to watch. And he's like, maybe she's waiting for us to watch that movie with her. So it was a Friday night. I ran home while Phil stayed there with her and grabbed my computer because, of course, she had every movie on DVD. So grabbed my computer and the DVD and brought it into her room, and we sat and watched that movie with her in the room. And then around 11:30 at night, Phil left, come home, take care of the dogs, and be with my son. And a couple hours after that, her body started rapidly shutting down. And it is one of the worst experiences you can have with your loved one. To have to watch every stage of their body shutting down. But I wouldn't have been anywhere else. I wasn't going to leave her. Because sadly, in the room next to my mom's was another old gentleman that was in the exact same stage as my mom was of passing. And it broke my heart because he was in there alone. There was no family with him. There was nothing that had even indicated that anyone had been there to see him. So, as hard as it was being there with my mom, I wouldn't have changed a thing. I laid my head down on a pillow, and just for a second, but I must have drifted off, maybe 20, 30 minutes. And I woke up and she was gone. So there was a little bit of truth to the fact that she was waiting. She didn't want me sitting there staring at her as she died. And it is the hardest thing when you have to walk away from them, knowing that that is the last time you're going to see them. This is love, death, grief, and everything in between. Hit the like, subscribe, and notification bell to stay up to date on all new videos.
Until next time, lean into your grief and accept the tears whenever they decide to come. But above all else, embrace the love and the laughter and the memories that you're going to find along the way.